Kobe Bean Bryant. Kobe Bean Bryant.
Bean.
Kobe, is it Bean?
Bean, yeah, that's his
Kobe
name.
Bean Bryant. Present and future, visible and invisible. For what we want to know what really happened. Did he make a deal? Was it the Illuminati? Michelle, you're shortening these too much.
Well, I read
Was
big,
the
that's
was
why.
the medical company
Involved.
Okay. Was COVID involved? What? What?
Was COVID involved? If it was a deal, why Gigi?
Okay. And for what's hidden and hidden behind darkness, and the God and the saints will reveal the answers to our questions.
Amen.
Here we go.
Yikes.
Not fair, you already peaked.
First two coming out.
I know that look.
Here we go. He left, but he left in triumph. In other words, he was a good guy. It says, and leaving behind was the mother of his children. It says, he didn't want there to be hardship ever for them. It says, but there was karma that he needed to pay. It says, there was a big change, a huge change that happened. It says, and this was over the truth. It was like truth that needed to come out. And so it talks about that's what caused a big change. It says, and there were people who were a lot stronger, a lot more powerful than this person. It says, this turned around his wife, the person who he truly loved. It says, and yes, he was a fool at one point in his life. It says, it turned his house upside down. It says, and he could no longer be that knight in shining armor. It says, things didn't work out the way he had planned. It says, and in the end, it came to cut off his head. It says, now the sun doesn't shine. It says, but he's in the right place where he belongs. He must be in a good spot. It says, destruction came. It says, and there was an angry woman. So I don't know what he was involved with, but I do know that what he's trying to say here is that in the past he made a choice, a decision, and that choice he was going to pay karma for. In other words, he got involved in something that he shouldn't have, yeah.
Was it the cheating when he cheated on Vanessa?
No, that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about foolish mistakes that he made from before. It says, it's not talking about his relationship with her, it's talking about the choices he made for his life. It says, even in his reconciliation with his wife, it says there was things that needed to be worked out. It says, but things were delayed. It says, he wasn't angry. It says, and he knew she was upside down with him. It says, and the relationship was beginning to grow. It says, and then they brought him to his knees. It says, in his life there would have been fortune. In the circle of his life there had always been fortune and good things. It says, but there was something hidden that finally was starting to come clear. It says, he didn't have a choice in the matter. In other words, he didn't have a choice. Now this could mean that he didn't have a choice because he wasn't the one driving the helicopter, but it could also mean that like whatever choice he made already was locked in writing. What I get from it is that he made a decision way back when to be involved in something that was going to come back to bite him in the ass. It says, and rest assured, it says it had to do with some type of magic. It says, and a lot of money. So the Illuminati basically, and I'm not saying that he's involved, not going to go there, but I am saying that the Illuminati is based around magic. They're based around rituals. They're based around a lot of things. And that certain group has a shitload of money and can make you very rich or very poor very quickly. It says that was his struggle. That was his battle. It said he knew it had taken his life from him. So what does that mean? I mean, what are we gonna call it? Taking his life from him? If you have light and you're meant to illuminate the world with your light and your gift or whatever you have, when someone takes that light, they basically take your soul. So
he sold his soul.
I mean, it's saying that it took his life. I'm not saying it sold his soul, but it's definitely saying
He may have
it took
done
his.
it when he was young and
Right,
he didn't know.
exactly.
Remember, he got drafted from high school straight to the pros.
Right.
He didn't go.
But you know that he didn't even make his freshman team when he first tried out. You know that, right? I think it was him or was that Michael Jordan? It was one of the two. It says his impatience, so it talks about his impatience at a younger age, is what left things incomplete, wanting to probably be the best quickly. It says, and his true love, his true passion was the game. There's my card saying, but now there's no new beginning. It says, his happiness was based around a woman. It says, and his darkness, it says, was something that wasn't an obstacle. It was completely around him. There was always some type of darkness that was around him. Indeed. It says, he had tons of opportunities for everything. And his daughter, he goes, turned upside down in the process of this. It says, and all she was loving. She loved him. There was no doubt. It says, but God says, he was meant to have been alone when this happened. So whether or not it was done by them or maybe his karma finally came back to bite him in the ass, is there.
His kid paid for it.
Yeah, it says his family, brokenhearted. Yep. It says, and no more opportunities, or no more fruit on the tree. It says, and no more opportunities for love or even money. In other words, the decision he made brought him everything, and the decision he made took it all away. That's some crazy shit. It says, and quickly, it says, the difference between right and wrong becomes apparent. Because if he would have done the right thing, he would still be moving on. But since he did the wrong thing, that may have been what stopped it. It says, this isn't just about past events. It says, this is about part of his life that was not celebrated. In other words, he didn't allow himself to celebrate in the right things until later. Because when I listen to Kobe Bryant, he's very astute. He talks very well. He talks about God. He talks about things.
Very well-rounded.
I mean, he was mostly based around basketball, but he had faith. But that faith was also part of his depression. In other words, when you turn your back on something, it makes it tough. He chose a road. He chose a path. It says one that was more spiritual than was godly. It says, and in that path, it says, he knew, he was afraid that at some point he was going to lose. It says, but it finally had to come complete. It finally had to happen. It says, but in death, there's no death. So it talks about in his death, there's really no death. He's still doing his thing. It says, there's triumph in death. He's all, especially if you pass judgment. It's talking about it. That's crazy. It says, your soul, your person, is love. It says, and it opens the doors for many things. It says, for problems to go away. It says, and even when you're overwhelmed, love can change everything. It says, when your world is upside down, always return to love. Like he's still preaching. The guy's still preaching and we're throwing his cards. He's saying when everything's upside down, return to unconditional love.
Positive.
Yeah, still love, like still positive, because he's still doing his thing. It says, and when you're discontent, tons of lessons. When you're discontent, don't give in to temptations. But come on. This isn't me throwing this. This is him saying, like, these are things he's saying. Because most people, when they're not happy, what do they turn to?
Temptation.
Alcohol, drugs, sex, all kinds of shit. He's saying, don't do that.
Vices.
Work on you. Work on the things that you want, he's saying. He says, those are the things that people haven't mastered yet. Those are the things that bring an end to them, he says. He says, because they don't know how to defend themselves. When all they really need is God. It says, they don't have to carry burden on their back. It says, especially when it comes to people who are in love. It says, we just have to be truthful and upright with each other. That's all he says. Aww. So he talks about the mistake he made. So I think at some point he made a deal. That's what I believe.